Training camp is supposed to be where chemistry builds, shots get sharper, and rookies rise. But if you watch the Indiana Fever's full training camp scrimmage, one thing became clear. Not everyone's ready. Not physically, not mentally, and certainly not defensively. This isn't panic mode, but it is a warning shot. And if we're being honest, it doesn't take a seasoned scout to see which players are fighting for their spot and which ones are coasting on name recognition or past reputation. That won't fly in 2025, not with the spotlight this hot.
Do it for this video, but unfortunately this is an important video to watch. So if you are on mobile, squint a little bit, and if you can zoom in, and if you don't want to listen to me talk, you can zoom in a little bit more, hopefully. And if you're on PC, you know that there is a Control Plus button, or looking into higher resolution, just cut off half the screen. But hopefully you guys can see this. I do apologize if you can't, but we're going to be watching all of training camp from the game, we're going to be watching all the scrimmages, because I don't care if people aren't making, there's a lot of missed layups and drills.
The first glaring red flag, layups, missed ones, a lot of them. From drills to live action, players, even vets, struggled to convert at the rim. Now, sure, it's camp, legs are heavy, timing is off, but these are open looks, the kind you must hit to stay on a WNBA roster. And if it's happening this often in practice, that's not just fatigue, that's a problem. And let's not sugarcoat it. Missing wide open layups is one of the quickest ways to end up on the waiver wire.
Great Nash dribble by Caitlin Clark, good take by DeWanna Bonner. I like the defense by Michaela Timpson. So that possession there, really good defense there by DeWanna Bonner. Not good defense by Natasha Howard, leaving a player open. Michaela Timpson gets it up top. Good enough seal by Dantas. Who threw the bad swing? Jaylen Brown. Oh, by the way, Jaylen Brown just cut her already. That's all I'm going to say from what I've seen.
Jaylen Brown and Sydney Colson, they might want to keep their phones on silent, because from what we saw, they're not making the cut. Bad passes, blown coverages, zero hustle. This isn't a chemistry issue, it's a capability issue. And in a league with only 12 roster spots, vibes don't count for much. If you're giving up buckets and coughing up the ball in a glorified scrimmage, what happens in real games? There's no hiding in this league.
Terrible defense. Dantas is not quick enough to guard. That off a flat hedge. Kelsey Mitchell shoots a step back. Why she shot the step back, I don't know. We're back to bad Kelsey Mitchell right here. What you want Kelsey Mitchell to do is just burn Dantas. Dantas is not in defensive position. Just burn her. You have a right hand layup, Kelsey. You do not need to shoot the step back long too.
But while some struggled, Caitlin Clark looked every bit the player we saw last season. Quick reads, smart passes, and that ability to burn anyone one-on-one. Even in camp, she's controlling the tempo. And let's not ignore the new muscle she's packed on. She didn't just bulk up, she armored up. Every drive, every cut, she's doing it with more force. She's not just playing faster, she's playing stronger.
So that's last year during the season. All right, and this is this year. Good grief. I mean, there's a serious difference through the shoulders and the arms, just in general. I mean, Caitlin Clark has put some real muscle on. I mean, you could tell her entire frame.
The transformation is undeniable. Side-by-sides from last year to now show a visibly stronger Clark. This isn't aesthetics, it's survival. After a rookie year spent getting hammered by defenders, Clark made the offseason about durability. And if the sky or wings come swinging again this season, she'll be ready. Not just to absorb the hit, but to punish teams in transition right after. This is a player who remembers every foul.
So maybe when she takes a clothesline, I mean, you got to wonder at this point, are the Chicago Sky games going to be the same as they were last year? Can we expect an incident during every game, Kathy Engelbert? Or when they play the Dallas Wings, can we expect an incident in that game? Dejanay Carrington, of course, she goes for the eyes, so it wouldn't matter anyway. So, as the new season approaches, it marks Year 2 for fan favorite Caitlin Clark, and she returns to a revamped Fever roster.
Back to the scrimmage and to Bree Turner. Her off-ball movement, solid. Her positioning, smart. Her finishing, brutal. 2 wide-open layups missed in quick succession. And these aren't fluke misses. She's always had trouble at the rim. If the Fever want to run with the elite, that's a weakness that needs fixing. Because all the defensive hustle in the world means nothing if you can't convert 2 feet from the hoop.
It's fine. Missed layups will be concerning if they happen during the season, I will say that. Caitlin Clark burns Yvonne Ejim. Yvonne Ejim gets back, though. Caitlin burns her again, hits Bree Turner again, who misses another layup. Come on.
Speaking of finishing, let's talk decision-making. Kelsey Mitchell's shot selection was, at times, baffling. Forced step-backs early in the shot clock, dribbling into traffic, hesitation on open looks. Mitchell is a bucket, no doubt, but when she's not dialed in, she derails possessions. That can't happen anymore. Her talent is obvious, but her judgment needs to catch up. This isn't playground ball. It's win-now basketball.
This is really not what we want to see from Kelsey Mitchell. She's got to make quicker decisions. Once that step back comes, like, I understand she did, like, that's such a tough layup. It's too early with 20 seconds to go in the shot clock. Taking that, that's not a good offense.
Sophie Cunningham, meanwhile, might just be the quiet glue here. She's pushing tempo, making the extra pass, and playing within her role. Nothing flashy, but everything functional. If she ends up as the backup point guard, it might be one of Indiana's best under-the-radar moves of the season. And honestly, Cunningham playing steady minutes might be what keeps this team from unraveling when the starters rest.
And Caitlin's lying on the ground. Oh, I would have thought there was a foul. Sydney Colson dribbles down the floor, hits Bree Hall, who makes a really nice layup there. Sophie Cunningham with Caitlin Clark there playing a little bit of the one, pushing the floor, getting it out quickly to the wing, and that's what you want to see.
On defense, there's finally a system. You can see it. Icing screens, forcing baseline, defenders rotating on time. Last year, the Fever looked like they were guessing on every switch. This year, there's purpose. Not perfection, but purpose. It's a massive improvement, and that matters, because scheme can elevate average defenders, or at least keep them from getting exposed every other possession.
Decent defense by Caitlin. One thing as well, they look to be icing screens. They look to be icing all screens on the wing. So, if you don't know what icing is, it's refusing a screen, where you're going to play, or icing, refusing, same difference, where you end up playing over and you kind of send them into the defender. So you can see where the defender is right now, stepping back a little bit, and you see Caitlin. If that defender is not there, Caitlin's giving up a layup. So it seems they're refusing the screens to not really allow them running to pick and roll.
And let's not forget the coaching change. Stephanie White is already making her presence felt. The drills are sharper, the schemes clearer, and the energy more focused. This isn't the chaos of 2023. This is a team trying to become a contender, and White's at the center of that shift. The players respect her, and more importantly, they seem to understand her system. That's a coaching win already.
With the hiring of new head coach Stephanie White and an aggressive push in free agency, Indiana has reshaped its team in a big way. On Saturday, the Fever took another step forward by officially announcing their training camp roster. The core still features the core group that drove last year's success: Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexi Hall.
Now let's talk roster. Michaela Timpson looks like a lock. Great energy, solid switches, and she competes on every play. Bree Hall, on the other hand, walking back on defense in the final scrimmage possession, unforgivable when your contract isn't guaranteed. That's how you get cut. Every coach notices hustle, and in these camps, every rep is a resume.
Dilly Elaine defensive laps right here, but it's a real bad defensive laps. It's like, if you've ever coached, you can make a defensive laps, but let's just say hypothetically, if you're playing against the Warriors, if you make a defensive lapse and you've given Jonathan Kuminga a driving lane to the basket, okay, it happens. But if your defensive lapse leaves Curry or wide open for three, or Prime Clay wide open for three, you're sitting your ass on the bench. Like, that's just the reality of it.
You want to stay in this league? You sprint every single time. Because the difference between making the roster and getting waived can literally be one possession. It's that ruthless. And if Hall doesn't realize that, someone else will happily take her spot. Coaches remember effort, so do fans, and so do the stat sheets.
So that is the shot that ended scrimmage. And that's the scrimmage footage. That is the scrimmage footage. So obviously after that is some drills. I don't know what the drill is, but there is just a lot of kind of the stuff that we saw in workouts. A lot of missed layups in these drills, but Caitlin Clark driving to the basket, giving it in. So it's a lot more of that stuff. So the drills are just their actions.
Dana Bonner might be the biggest surprise of camp so far. Veteran presence, strong finishes, great instincts. If she keeps this level of play up, she's going to be more than just a role player. She might be a closer in crunch time. The Fever need experience, and Bonner delivers. She's not just holding a roster spot, she's grabbing minutes.
Or was that just a bad catch? Oh, it was a horrific pass. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, bad catch, but it's a terrible pass. So the ball's there. Bree Hall playing the 4 is an interesting one in this lineup as well. Lexi Hall makes a good cut. Natasha Howard swats her at the rim.
But let's zoom out. This roster, with Clark, Boston, Mitchell, Bonner, and Cunningham, is deeper and more versatile than last year's. Add in a real coaching staff and clearer defensive identity, this team should be aiming for more than just a playoff berth. They should be fighting for a top 4 seed. The blueprint's in place. Now it's execution time.
Has reshaped its team in a big way. On Saturday, the Fever took another step forward by officially announcing their training camp roster. The core still features the core group that drove last year's success: Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexi Hall. However, the Fever have made key acquisitions to bolster their depth and experience. Well, let's just go over here. Here it is right here.
The fans see it too. Fever training camp updates are getting national attention. Ticket prices are up. Media buzz is non-stop. Clark may be the face, but this team's overhaul is a whole movement. It's no longer just about the highlight reels. It's about winning, and people are buying in, literally and figuratively.
All right, we're within a week away of the return. That Brazilian national game, preseason game in Iowa, I can't wait to see what that visually looks like on TV. I think that's going to be a fantastic watch.
And don't get it twisted, the pressure is on. From fans, from media, from the front office. Indiana went all in this offseason. Now it's time to see if the pieces fit, if the system holds, if the missed layups turn into points, and if Clark can carry the load, not just as a star, but as a leader. She's the franchise now, and that means no off nights. 1 week until preseason, 1 week until we see this all play out live. The foundation is there, the talent is there, the vision is there. Now it's time for execution. And if this camp was any indication, the Fever are finally headed in the right direction. But remember, camp hype is cheap. Results are what count. And for Indiana, the window is open. Let's see if they can charge through it.